Hi guys, welcome back to the session. Today we will learn about forms and interactive forms, which is a new feature introduced in Automation Anywhere A2019. So let's get started by looking into forms. So forms are user interface to provide data to TaskBot as a form. So far, if we needed to provide data to TaskBot, such as employee name, employee ID, etc., what we do, we provide data with the help of Excel, CSV files, or user prompts. But with the concept of forms, user can build a form to send data to TaskBot at one single go. Also, the data can be sent back to the form as well from the TaskBot. Now, how these forms and TaskBot interact? So, these forms and TaskBot interact with the help of interactive forms package. So, this interactive forms package acts as an interface between forms and TaskBots, and it interacts and acts upon forms. So let's quickly create a project in Automation Anywhere to learn more about forms and interactive forms. So first of all, we will create a form with employee data. Then we will fetch the form data to TaskBot using interactive forms. And step 3 and step 4 we will see later on. So let's quickly move to Automation Anywhere. So here we are in Automation Anywhere A2019. Let's begin to create a form. So for that we will move to bots, my bots. And here we have the icon to create a form. We can begin to create a form from here. We can also create a form from here as well. If you click on this arrow, we have the option to create new bot or form. So let's click on form and let's give the form name over here. Employee details. Let's click on create and edit. And we are in the edit form page. This is the form structure. In the left side, we have the layouts and the elements which will be used to create a form. In the right hand side, we have the form properties. So let's change the form title from the properties section. Let's change the form title to employee details and let's click on save. Let's remove this already existing stuff from here. We will create a new one. And now let's begin to create a form by adding the elements over here. So first of all, I will add the text box element. Let's drag and drop it over here. Let's change the name of the text box from here. Let's give the name as enter employee name. And we can change all the properties of this element from this right hand side. Now if we wish to mark this field as required, we will check this box so that this field will be a required field. Now let's add other element. Let's add a radio button over here. Let's change the name of the radio button from here. Let's give the name as select job and we can provide the jobs over here. So radio button 1 will be, let's give the job options over here, manager, and let's give the second option as leader. We can add more radio buttons by clicking on this plus icon, but let's skip this as of now. Let's go with the 2 radio buttons. We can also mark this element as required and we can change the formatting from here. As of now, vertical is selected. So if we select this horizontal, so the radio buttons are in or horizontal format as of now. Now let's add a button element over here and let's give the name of the button as post employee data. So these two fields we have added to provide employee name and job to the TaskBot. Now in the form we can receive the data from the TaskBot as well. So for that I will add another text box. Let's drag and drop it over here and let's give the name of this text box as output. And here we will fetch the data from the TaskBot. We will see this later on how we can fetch the data. Now at the end I will add one more button and I will give the name of the button as close the form. So our form design is complete now. We will click on save. Also, we will take the screenshot of this employee details form for future reference. Let's take this one and we can also see the preview of this form. So if you click on this preview button, So here comes the preview of the form, how the form will look like. You can change the resolution from here. You can change the coordinates from here as well. So let's go with the default one as of now. It looks good. Let's click on cancel. Now our step 1 is over. We have created the form. Now we will move to step 2. We will create a task bot. There we will fetch the data from this form. So let's see how we can do that one. So for that again we will move to bots, and now we'll create a task bot from here. So for that let's click on create a bot. Let's give the name of the bot as post employee data, and let's click on create and edit. So here we are in the edit taskbot page. Here we will add actions to interact with the form which we just created. So for that we will search for the package interactive forms. So this is the interactive forms package which is used to interact and act upon forms. Here we have multiple actions. We will look into each of them. First, let's get started by selecting this display action which loads and displays the specified form. So let's drag and drop it over here. Let's move to the list view and let's see what all details we need to provide under this display action. So first of all, we need to provide a form name over here, and for that we need to create a variable of type form. Now again, this form is a new variable type introduced in A2019 version, which is used to interact with forms and interactive forms. So let's click on create variable. Let's give the name of the form as employee form, and this employee form is a variable of type form, and here we need to provide a default value. That means here we need to provide the form which we created just now. So for that we will click on browse, and this is the employee details form which we just created. So let's select this one and let's click on confirm. So this employee forms variable holds the value of the employee details form. Let's click on create and select, and let's click on apply. Now when this bot will run, because of this display action, this form will be displayed. User will provide the employee name and select the job. Then the user will click on this post employee data. Now I want my taskbot to do any further action only when this button is clicked. So that means I want to add a trigger in the bot. So let me show you what I mean to add. So we have a trigger package. So this is a trigger loop package. Here we have multiple actions. So I'm going to add a trigger loop over here, which enables to run a series of actions when a trigger event occurs. And in our case, our trigger event is clicking on this post employee data button. So we need to add this condition. How to do that? So for that we will add this handle action, and here we need to provide some information. So first of all we need to provide the trigger condition. So if you select this drop down, so I want to select the trigger condition as form trigger. So let's click on this form trigger, and here we need to provide the form name. So form name we have selected, we have created as employee form. So let's give the form name as employee form from here, and all the form elements are listed in this drop down. So if you click over here, all the form elements which we have added in the form are listed over here. So we want to go with this post employee data button. So select this one, and the action trigger condition will be clicked. So we have added the trigger condition as form trigger for the employee form, and the trigger condition we have added is clicking of this post employee data button. So let's click on apply. Now under this handle loop, we will include all the actions which we want to perform when the trigger occurs. So let's search for the interactive actions again. So this is the interactive forms package, and now we want to fetch the employee name and the job which we provided in the form. So how to do that? So for that we have the action as get action, which is used to get values from the form elements. So let's drag and drop it over here. And make sure that you have added this get action under the handles. So if you move to the flow view of the task, you can see it looks like this. Let me show you. So here you see under this handle we added this get action. So now let's see what all we need to provide under this get action. So first of all we need to select the form name. Again the form name will be employee form, and the form element we need to select from here. So let's select the form element as enter employee name, which is the text box, and the value which we will provide under this employee names text box, we can store it inside a variable under the TaskBot. So for that we will click on create a variable, and let's give the name of the variable as employee name, and this will be a variable of type string. So let's click on create and select, and let's click on apply. Now in a similar manner we want to fetch the job value as well. So for that we'll add again the interactive form action as get. Let's drag and drop it over here. And in this one again we will select the form name as employee form. Form element we can select as select job, which is a radio button group. Let's select this one, and let's create a variable over here to put the value. So let's click on create variable, and let's give the name as job, and this variable is of type string. Again let's click on create and select, and let's click on apply. Now so far we have added all the actions in our bot to fetch the values of employee name and the job, and we have stored it inside the variables employee name and job. Now we can use these variables in our task bot in any way we want. Let's say that we want to add a message box. Let's add a message box over here. Let's drag and drop it over here. Let me move it to up, and let's drag and drop the message box over here, and we can give the message value as employee name fetched from form is, and let's press F2, and let's select the employee name variable from here. Let's click on yes insert. Also we can add employee job fetched from form is, and we can press F2, and we can select the variable job from here. Let's click on yes insert, and let's click on apply. So the value which we provided under this form, that is employee name and job, we are using those values inside the message box. In a similar way we can add other actions as well which can use the employee name and job variables. So let's add some other activities as well. I'm going to use the REST web service package which we used in the previous session. We have used this post method to post the data. So I'm going to use that action, that is post method, today as well. In case you have missed the previous video, I will share the link in the description. You can go through those videos to look into how you can work with the REST web services. So let's drag and drop this post method over here. And here I'm going to use a REST web service from this REQ RES website which we used in the previous session as well. Here I'm going to take this post method. So this is the REST web service with this data which we wish to post, and this is the response which we receive. So let's take this REST web service, let's copy this from here, and let's paste it inside the URI of the REST web service action. Let's paste it over here. This is the server name. We need to provide the path as well. So this is going to be the path. Let's take this completely, and let's put it inside the URI. Now in this REST web service there is no authentication and headers required. Content type will be JSON, that is application JSON, and here we want to provide the custom parameters. So yes, we have the custom parameters from this post method, and that is name and job. So let's copy this one and let's paste it over here. Now here you see this name and job are hard-coded values. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this name. Let's press F2 and let's take the value which we have provided over the form. That is the employee name variable. So let's select this one. Let's click on yes, insert. And here also let's delete this job. Let's delete this hard-coded value from here and press F2, and from this drop down let's select the variable job which we will provide inside the form. So let's select this one and let's click on yes, insert. Now the response of this web service which we will receive in this structure, we want to receive this response and store it inside a variable. So let's create a variable. We learned in the previous session, for this one we need a dictionary variable. So let's click on create variable and let's give the name of the variable as well, web service response, and this is a variable of type dictionary. Let's click on create and select and let's click on apply. So we have this variable now, that is web service response variable, which holds the value of this response, and this response I want to paste under this output section of the form. That means we are providing a value to this form from the TaskBot. So let's see how we can do that. So for that again we will use the action from the interactive forms package. Let's move to action. Let's search for the interactive forms package. And here we have this set action which is used to set value of variable in a form element. So let's drag and drop it over here. And let's provide the form name as employee form, and form element will be output. Let's select the output. The form element is the output, and the variable which we want to paste in the output is, press F2, and from this variable we will select this web service response, which is a variable of type dictionary. Let's select this one, and since it is a dictionary variable, we learnt we need to provide a dictionary key as well. Here in our case the dictionary key will be body. Let's click on yes, insert, and let's click on apply. Now so far we have added all the steps to get the values from this form to the TaskBot and to provide the values to the form from the TaskBot. Now I want to close this form when user clicks on close the form button. So how to do that? So for that we again need to add one more trigger condition along with a break condition, which is used to end the interaction between the bot and the form. So let's see how we can do that. So I'm going to add one more trigger condition. So under this handle, I'm going to add another trigger loop. And in this trigger loop, I'm going to add one more condition. So let's add a handle, and under this handle, I want to provide the trigger condition as form trigger. Form name we will select as employee form, and the form element will be close the form button. So let's click on close the form button, and the action trigger is selected as clicked. Now let's click on apply, and now we are good to add this break action over here. Now so far we have added this break action for the second trigger loop, but at the beginning of the bot we have added one more trigger loop. Let me show you. We have added one more trigger loop over here. So we need to add a break condition for this trigger loop as well. So let's add one more trigger loop at the end. So here I'm going to add one more break action. Let's drag and drop it over here. So our bot is ready now. Let's save this bot and let's quickly recap what all actions we have added over here. Let's move to list view for better vision. I will close these and let's expand this together to see what all we have added. So first of all, we have used this display action under the interactive forms package, which loads and displays the specified form. So this is the form which will be loaded in this employee form variable, and the form will be displayed. Next, we have added the trigger loop to run the further actions only when the trigger condition meets. And what trigger condition we have provided? So we have provided a trigger condition as clicking of this post employee data button from the employee form. And once this condition meets, we have added further actions to get the value of employee name and job from the employee form variable, which holds the data from this employee details form. Once we get the values of employee name and employee job, we are displaying those values inside the message box. Then we have added a post method from the REST web services to post the values of employee name and job. And in return, we will get the response, which we will store inside web service response variable. And later on, we are displaying that value inside the forms under this output element. Now, when all these actions are done, we have provided one more trigger loop where we have provided a condition as when the close the form button is clicked, we want to terminate the loop with the help of this break action. And when this is done, at the end we are using another break action to terminate the outer trigger loop. So our bot is ready now. We will quickly run it to see how it works. So let's quickly click on run. And here it displayed the employee details form. Let's provide the employee name over here as John. And let's select the job as manager. And let's click on post employee data. Now, as soon as we clicked on this post employee data, the trigger loop got activated and the values from this form, that is employee name and job, got fetched inside the TaskBot, and hence we displayed the message as employee name fetched from form is John and the job is manager. So let's click on close. And then we received the REST web service response in this output element. So our task is done now. We will close this form. Let's click on close the form and let's click on close. So in this way we can work with forms and interactive forms in Automation Anywhere. It's going to be very helpful going forward. And that's all for this session, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and share with your friends and hit the bell button to get the updates on the latest videos. And I will see you soon in the next one. Bye bye.